The final bit of racing for the day here at round one of the Rotax Max Euro Challenge, and it's the turn of the DD2s. Two classes within this, of course the main DD2s and the DD2 Masters as well, so double the excitement to look out for as the race very shortly will get underway. 17 laps of action around this Belgium circuit to come, and we'll see who is going to come out on top after all those laps have been completed. So the field just about to head off on its first formation lap. So Kevin Ludi is the man who leads them way down towards that first corner, and of course it'll be a very rapid first lap. The second lap will be half rapid, and towards the end of it they'll start to slow themselves down and get into formation. Nice to hear from many of the drivers on the grid, their thoughts before this one gets underway, but as we said, Kevin Ludi will start from, again, the best position on that grid in first place. Alongside him is going to be the local man with the local knowledge, which is Geordie Levins, so they line up on the first row. Row 2 then sees Barry Pullinger, again very used to this circuit, hasn't had far to travel from the UK and does race here quite a lot, so watch out for Barry in third place. On to that second row as well, with him it's going to be Dzinas Slavinsky. On row 3 we then see Mick Vishofer and Lucas Bartosuk. Lucas was a winner from yesterday in one of the heat races, and then on to row 4 is last year's champion Ferenc Kanchar and Vili Valanen. On to row 5 we then see Pascal Marchel with Cosimo Durante, the Italian, alongside. On row 6 it then sees Martin Pearce, the first of our Masters runners. Can he hold on to the top spot throughout this race? We'll find out over the next 17 laps. He has got alongside him Maxi Fleischmann. Row 7 is headed by Philip Sewa, and Michael Cool starts alongside that. On to row 8 it's going to be Sam Schmelt and Tamsin Germain, who is our second Masters runner, and then row 9 another challenger within that class, Richard Faulkner, with Joey Alders alongside. Row 10 headed by Patrick Weinstock with Konstantin Scholl, quickest man on Friday qualifying. He is way down on the grid. Can he turn his speed this weekend into a good result in this final? On row 11 we then have Martin Mortensen, again quick through the heats yesterday, started on pole for pre-final, but a disastrous race there earlier has seen him down on the 21st place on the grid. Alongside him is Christian Davies. Row 2 is Emirias Rua and Ilja Aloskins. Row 13 is headed by Richard Jutt and Slavomir Moransky. Row 14 we've got Tim Verelst and Luca Kamali. Row 15 has Aaron Sherlock and Harold Karkaklis. Row 16 Dennis Kroes and Dullah Wahai. And then row 17 is Marco Gottler and Imco Arts, all of those who suffered problems towards the back in that previous pre-final. So the cart's on their way round through turn number 7, heading down towards the point on the track where they need to get themselves into the best formation possible. This is where, of course, they start gridding up, slowing down, and then building the speed once more on towards the final corner, where if Thomas Liner is happy, he'll be unleashed, or they'll be unleashed by him, down towards the first turn again with a chock-a-block field out there. 34 carts, which is always entertaining, especially here at round number 1 at this Belgium track, because there's not much room for manoeuvre in towards that first turn. Again, thanks to all of those who have joined us online across the course of the day. RGMMCmedia.com. The tally continues to grow, so nice to have your company, and hopefully we're in for one of the best ways to end the weekend, with the best till last maybe. The juniors and seniors have definitely delivered, and hopefully DD2 will be exactly the same. Kevin Ludi, the man to lead them through on this formation lap to get the race underway. Geordie Levins alongside Barry Pullinger on row 2 with Dzina Slavinsky. Let's see if we can get this one into life now. 17 laps of racing, ready for the DD2s and of course the DD2 Masters. On towards the start finish line they come, and we will get a start, although it's a little bit spread out towards the front of that field, but Kevin Ludi has pulled a march already. Straight into second place has come our second row man, which is Barry Pullinger, and has everyone got it through safely at turn 1? Yes, they have. Turn 2 may be a critical point as well. We've got Davina Slavinsky into 5th place. Geordie Levins has dropped down to 3rd, but it is Kevin Ludi for Spirit Racing who leads the way for the first time down the back straight in towards the right-hander at turn 5. Best position for Barry Pullinger to be in is that second place. Can he get the job done early on before everyone starts to attack from behind? That's going to be his aim within this race, but Kevin Ludi, again, just like Barry Pullinger, is a man who's been around in DD2 for many, many years, so they're going to be racing hard but fair as they come down towards the penultimate corner, in towards the left-hander at turn number 9. Through there they go in towards the final turn, and here comes a move from Ferenc Kanchar. Already, by the looks of it, is up into 3rd place. What a start from Ferenc. He's come from 7th on the grid, end of lap 1, 4th, maybe, sorry, 3rd, maybe 4th again there, because Geordie Levins was looking. Here comes Dzina Slavinsky down the inside at turn 1, and he now barges wide. Geordie Levins, who drops another position down just on the fringes of the top 5. And he's now being followed by 644, which is Lucas Bartaduk. So that's the drama that's happened. Oh, and more drama there as Jordy Levins again gets pushed wide at turn 4. Side by side there between Ville Valainen and Michael Kuhl. Michael Kuhl had to work his way through yesterday in the heats just to get himself up in towards a good starting position. And again, in this race, he's worked his way towards the front of the field, or near enough the front of the field. He's still got a few more places to pick up, but there he is in kart 653. Just behind him now is teammate 633, which is in fact 630, which is Ville Valainen. So he is behind him on track. He's got 648 as well for close company, which is Maxi Fleischmann. But the leaders go on to their third lap now. Still Kevin Ludi that heads the way. Second for Barry Pullinger. Third is still Frank Kanshar. Is he under pressure? Nope. He's managed to just bridge the gap between himself and Zina Slavinsky. This is the fight for 6th place now, because Mick Vishofer has just got past Jordy Levins. So again, Jordy Levins losing out here from that front row, and there goes as well Michael Kuhl down the inside line. Very cool, calm and collected from that man as he works his way on towards the back straight. So Jordy Levins, you'd have thought he'd have known this track inside out after racing here many times, but for now he's now finding himself a little bit vacant in this race as he drops down towards the rear of the top 10. Top 2 go through the penultimate corner. Just building the gap now over our 3rd place man, Frank Kanshar, who can't quite get onto terms with them as of yet, but still plenty of time to play with as they go through for the completion of lap number 3. In towards the first corner goes Ludi. Barry Pullinger is now 0.3 of a second adrift. Frank Kanshar is there in 3rd place, the 601 kart, and already he's pulled away from not Zina Slavinsky, because he's come under attack from Lucas Bartaduk and has been dropped by pretty much everyone else there. So Dzinas drops down to 5th, possibly 6th place. We wait for intermediate 1 to be completed, and yes, he drops down behind Lucas Bartaduk. In fact, he drops way down there. What's happened to Dzinas? I think he's pulled off somewhere. Any yellow flags at turns 2 or 3? Nope. In fact, he's off down at someone is off down at their second hairpin at turn number 5. So we've lost someone there. Again, we'll wait to see who doesn't come through on that occasion. There's someone on the curbs as well at turn number 6, I can tell you, out of our commentary position here. And the marshals are on hand to try and recover that cart back to a place of safety. But Kevin Ludi continues on his way. The gap this time is going to be probably about the same here. Yeah, exactly the same. 0.3 of a second. Fractionally quicker was Barry Pullinger, but not making many inroads into our leader. Track conditions will start to rise once more. We're now up to 19 degrees air temperature, so that will change the ability of these karts and what the tyres can do. There's a move from Jordy Levins back down the inside line of Michael Kuhl. So those two switch positions for 5th and 6th. Michael Kuhl tries to get back on the attack down the back straight, but in doing so, he's going to have to defend as well from the man behind, which is Mick Vishofer by the looks of it. Into the pit lane has come Joey Alders, which is a real shame after a solid weekend up till this point. Joey was looking to be a podium finisher, but now he's suffered more damage and pulls off into the pit lane. And also we lost on that lap the likes of, who have we lost as well? Maxi Fleischmann, and also Richard Jutt has dropped himself down to last place within this race, but not good news for any of those. Zina Slavinsky as well has dropped down to 24th after running inside the top 4 on those first few laps, so drama for him as well. Here's a change further back. Michael Kuhl still under attack from those around. One getting through on that occasion was Mick Vishofer, who now jumps up into 6th place. Jordy Levins has blasted away. He's not hanging about for anyone here as he finds himself comfortably 4 or 5 kart lengths up the road, maybe a little bit more than that. As back to our leaders we go, Kevin Ludi and Barry Pullinger. That gap now is definitely less than 0.3 of a second, probably less than 0.2 of a second to be fair. Are we going to have our first attack of the race lead by Barry Pullinger as they come down towards turn 8. There he goes, he just about finds a gap to push his way through, and Barry Pullinger gets himself now into the lead of the race. So well done to Barry. Can he hold it now through the final corner? Slightly wider line there compared to Kevin Ludi, but still he leads, which is the main thing now. He says to himself, come on, let's get a move on with this race and not be held up any longer. Through the first turn he goes. Frank Kanshar is getting closer. Lucas Bartaduk has also closed in over the last few laps. He is very quick, 55.3, which was 0.4 quicker than Frank, and it was near enough a second quicker than those two out front. So a great lap there from Lucas Bartaduk as the leaders again bump and board to try and put away from 3rd and 4th in towards turn 5. But I feel this could be a very close race between these four now from here on in. So watch out to see what happens between Pullinger, Ludi, Kanshar and also Bartosuk in 4th place. Can Kevin Ludi respond down at turn 8 just like Barry Pullinger did? No, he can't. He stays there in 2nd. Again, just waits and see what is to unfold throughout the rest of this one. 5th place is still Mick Vishofer, by the way. He is with Geordie Levins and Michael Cool, who still continue a 3-way battle. And there is the fight for 3rd place between Frank Kanshar and Lucas Bartosuk. And of course for these two, they don't really want to squabble here, because if they do, they'll then lose touch with the top 2. So the ideal thing to do is to keep Frank ahead. That's not going to happen though, because Lucas goes straight down the inside line. Goes completely against my advice, but they do need to work together, because as I said, those two will then start to pull away very rapidly indeed. But for now, it's still Barry Pullinger that heads the field in this final for DD2s. Kevin Ludi is 2nd. Bartosuk, as we saw, up to 3rd place, and Frank Kanshar down in 4th position. What's happening further back? There's some good scraps happening just outside the top 10 by the looks of it, but we still focus on the leaders, because that's where another change could come very shortly, as Kevin Ludi tried to charge at the 2nd opportunity on the exit of the final corner. He then gets a good run down the start-finish line. Can he jink out? Yes, he can. Barry Pullinger lets him go there, so he will have another chance to lead this race. The Spirit Racing cart go back ahead of the rest. Pullinger now drops down to 2nd. It's still Bartosuk in 3rd, who now becomes 2nd. And he'll now try and chase down Kevin Ludi, who again has already pulled out a good 4 or 5 kart length advantage there, but then that quickly comes down and down on the brakes at turn 5. They sweep through the double right-hander at turn 6. Can Pullinger respond? Yes, he can, but that may be, again, a little bit optimistic there from Barry, who in turn will lose pace and a place to the man who gets past him there, which is Frank Kanshar. So Frank, last year's champion, goes into 3rd. Lucas Bartosuk is 2nd. And again, just like that, Barry Pullinger finds himself off the podium down into 4th position. Mick Vishofer still 5th, Geordie Levins 6th, and Michael Cool in 7th. And then the poleman from Friday is Constantine Scholl in 8th place. Cosimo Durante is 9th, and in 10th place now is our Masters leader. Good to pick out Martin Pearce there, who's made up 1 position. Slavomir Moransky is 2nd, and Tamsin's made a long way down in 24th place, but 3rd in the Masters class. So that's how they all look. Martin Mortensen has made up, how many places Martin made? He is 11th at the minute, so just again on the fringes of the top 10. Let's see if he can continue to make progress. We're now over half race distance. We're on to lap number 10. It's going to be 7 to go at the end of this one, as the fight between Constantine Scholl and Cosmo Durante is well and truly on. This is the fight for 8th place. You can see just in the background there the man who dropped down, which was, it looks like Dzenis Lewinsky car. It is. I think that may still be Martin Pearce. So similar colours to Dzenis, but in fact that is Martin Pearce, who is doing really well, not just in Masters but overall in this race as well. Down towards the first corner, here comes Barry Pullinger. Another lunge, another move made up into 3rd place. So back on the podium for Barry. Next on the list is going to be Lucas Bartosuk. And how far is Kevin Ludi up the road? Only 0.8 of a second by the looks of it, so still time aplenty to catch him. With this race still unfolding, there is 3rd and 4th, just creeping into the picture there, 2nd and 1st, Kevin Ludi up the road. So they turn their way on towards the hairpin again at turn number 7. Any gaps coming down on this lap? In fact, I think they've just grown slightly between 1st and 2nd. There is Mick Vishofer at the head of the next train, 5th place for him for now. And then, of course, behind them, Geordie Levins and Michael Cool. There flashing through was the likes of Vili Villanen, who again has dropped down as this race has unfolded. So a problem for Vili in the final. He's now down in 14th place. And there goes Barry. He's got himself back up into 2nd place. That needed to happen ASAP, really, because they were letting Kevin Ludi get away. And again on that lap, the gap grew to 1.1 seconds. It may grow once again if Lucas Bartosuk has anything to do about it, as he challenges Barry Pullinger once again at turn number 4. He gets himself back up into 2nd. They'll all try and challenge down towards turn 5. Barry thinks about a move on Bartosuk, but again he's not going to try anything too rash in this race, because you don't want to put yourself out of a points paying position, and more importantly a nice podium as well to end the weekend. So they still sit there as they were. Here's the fight again, back with Mick Vishofer. He's now been passed by, in fact, now that's Cosmo Durante, who is past Michael Cool on track. So he comes up into 7th. Geordie Levins was just up the road in 6th place, and this is the fight back at the front between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Slightly slow on the exit, the corner there for Barry Pullinger. Again, he says get his head down, try and catch up with 2nd place, but for now I think Kevin Ludi is gone for the rest of the field, so he now is on his way to a first victory of the year. He couldn't quite muscle up the victory at the Winter Cup. That in fact went the way of Ed Brand. Kevin Ludi came through to finish 4th at the first event of the year, and of course that was with changing conditions. We had a wet race given, and he had to kind of decide what tyres to go with, and as the track started to dry out, didn't really favour him that too much, so Kevin Ludi came home 4th, just off the podium, and behind one of the Masters runners as well did Kevin. But this weekend he's looking for a nice podium, and more importantly the win to take away for the first round of the championship. There are the leaders once more, down towards the final corner, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. We focus in on 3rd and 4th, Barry Pullinger and Frank Cansharp, who again, just to remind you, has come from 7th on this grid to get himself now in towards a very good points paying position, and again just off the podium. If he can get past Barry Pullinger, that'd be a nice way to end his weekend. But again, Barry Pullinger is a very tough opponent within DD2. So onto the back straight they go for the 14th time. We are just going to have 3 laps to go at the end of this one, so we're counting down to a conclusion. There's a kart you can see towards the edge of the track there, which is Dzina Slavinsky's now. He has been pulled out of this race, so Dzina's out, Maxi Fleishman and also Joey Alders, who pulled into the pit lane. These 3 have got to watch out for the next man coming through here, which is Mick Vishofer. All of a sudden, Mick has kind of left everybody else behind him, including Jordi Levins and Cosimo Durante, but he is now onto the tail of this fight for 2nd place. So it becomes a 4-way fight for 2 steps on the podium. 2 will be lucky, 2 will be slightly more unluckier, and that does mean they're going to go away with no silverware after this weekend, but they will of course go away with the points. Kevin Ludi works his way through turn 3, on towards the hairpin now at turn number 4. And what's Mick going to do? First on the list is Frank Cansharp. There he goes, straight away. As soon as he's got to the back of Frank, he gets himself down the inside line. But they're now going to start playing, which means Barry Pullinger can focus more on the man in 2nd, which is Lucas Bartosuk. They don't play for long though, because straight away Mick Vishofer has pulled a nice healthy gap over Frank Cansharp. So I'm just wondering if he's kept his tyres very scrubbed in here, and looking to use them to the best of their abilities over the closing lap. So Barry's now going to have to watch in his, not mirrors, because they haven't got mirrors on these carts, but definitely over his right or left shoulder. Kevin Ludi goes onto the start-finish line with now 2 laps to go in this DD2 final. Down towards the first corner he heads once more. For the last 5 or 6 laps he's just been able to build this margin over the rest of the pack here. 2 seconds it now goes to. Behind still very close between these 3, because they've just about given a rest to Frank Cansharp in the 5th position, and there for 3rd goes now Mick Vishofer. What a drive this has been so far. Barry pushes him down towards turn 5. Nothing happening there though. Barry can't quite fight back, and in doing so he's now been caught once again by Frank Cansharp. So it's all changed towards the front of the order. Where did Mick Vishofer come through on the field? Well, he was down on row number 4 or 5, I think it was in the end. Row 3 it was, 5th place for Mick. Dropped down throughout this race, but has now found himself back towards the, not quite front of it, but definitely towards the sharp end. There goes Kevin Ludi through to what will be the start of the last lap here. Looks like Barry Pullinger's just going to miss out on a podium, along with last year's champion Frank Cansharp, because Kevin Ludi's there in 1st, Lucas Bartosuk is 2nd, and Mick Vishofer, surprisingly, has worked his way through with some very good pace towards the end of this to get into 3rd position. So it's all looking good for those at the minute. There's Barry on towards turn 4 for the final time. Works his way onto the back straight, and he's still under threat here from Frank Cansharp. Cosimo Durante is not too far back, and also Constantine Scholl has got himself into the top 7 places now. So they're all ones to watch out for, but I don't think there'll be too much to change on the last couple of corners. So they head their way through turn 7. The leader, Kevin Ludi, is down towards the left-hander now at turn number 9. Here he comes through there, on towards the final corner. And again, just like the previous 2 races, if you start from the pole in the pre-final for the final, that means you're going to get a win in the final as well. He kisses the air, and Kevin Ludi takes his first main championship round victory of the year. He comes through for the final victory of the weekend in DD2. 17 laps completed for Kevin. and again he is delighted with that. There's congratulations from those behind, first being Lukas Bartosuk, who comes through in second, and also very well done for Mick Vishofer, who'll get himself on the podium, the Austrian there. Behind them we've got the 4th place for Barry Pullinger, the Brit comes through to get a fairly good solid result, with 5th going away of Frank Kanchar. Last year's champion made it through from what was 7th on the grid. Cosimo Durante in 6th, Constantine Scholl up to 7th, 13 places gained for him. Geordie Levens 8th, 9th place inside the top 10 for our first Masters, which was Martin Pearce, so well done to him. And then behind that we had Michael Cord in 10th, Martin Mortensen made up 10 places to 11th, and Harold Kaklis, he made up 18 from 30th on the grid. He got himself into 12th position. The rest of the Masters behind Martin Pearce were Slavomir Moransky and Dennis Kroes. Both of those will make their way to the podium. And then we had Richard Faulkner and Richard Jutt to round out the top 5, with bad last laps for Ilos Aloskins and Tamsin Germain. But Kevin Ludi, again, maximum points this weekend. He is our DD2 winner at the first round of the championship in Genk.